Hello everyone, this is Sint, and I've decided that it's time for me to make a Force Master tutorial to help the new guys to know how to properly play the class. So, here we are on our newly leveled Force Master in Mushin Tower. She's kind of blind, but hopefully she'll do. I see, the Force is strong in this one. Okay, you ready? First, let's take a look at the skills. That's how we set up the skills. We have Blazing Palm on damage, because we are damage dealers, DPS. We have Frost Palm on basic skill, because it has increased attack speed, and also at some, if we put it on movement speed reduction, it will do snare, and that may be a problem at some bosses. We have Blazing Beam on damage, because we have to deal damage. We have Impact on combo, because it's nice. It's single target, and it lets us do combos, but we'll talk about it later. We have Shadow Grasp on pool enemies, because it allows us to use multiple blaze. The other options, this one is primarily for PvP, and this one, it's nice. At some dungeons you can save your players. We have Ice Cone movement speed reduction. It also returns 3 focus recovery and does a chill stack, but we will rarely use that. We will use that to only regain our chi. Frost Tornado is on break defense, because we don't do much damage with Snowball, because we are on fire build here and we don't use it. Frost Tornado will help us to break the defense on some bosses that block you. We have Inferno on additional cast, because it does more damage, but it has 0.5 seconds cast, but we'll deal with that. Heatwave we have on knockdown, because it's useful to have knockdown, of course. And the Airborne is for PvP, you have to stun the target first. Backstab we have on escape, because we can break stun, knockdown, daze or unconscious, and we have 0.5 seconds resistance after that, which we don't have on the other two paths. It has 12-second cooldown. Only unless we break from stun, daze, knockdown, whatever. Then it's 36. We have Frost Armor on HP drain, because it won't send us back away from the boss, and it will return some HP, and it has 1 minute cooldown that can be reset. It's useful. This one is useful too, but it has 3 minutes cooldown and can be reset. And Frost Sheet on Party Protect, because we have to save the assets of our party when they screw up. So, now that we know how to set up our skills, let's get this party started. The most basic combination that you'll be using is right click, left click, and 2. That's Frost Palm, Blazing Palm, and Blazing Beam. Now, you may notice that when we use Blazing Beam, all skills on the fire stance get a little cooldown clock. Here it is. That means that we can't spam skills from the fire stance right away. So, on the other hand, the left and right mouse button don't have such timers. That's why we'll have to set them on paths that have increased attack speed. So that we can do is switch to ice stance and using right click, and then switch fast to fire stance using left click, like this. Ice stance, fire stance. And the clock on the skills will be gone. That's kind of unique trait of the Force Master, that continues to use skills from both fire and ice, no matter what the main build is. Now you may notice that when we hit with Blazing Palm or with Blazing Beam, the target gets an Ember debuff. The Ember debuff does a small damage over time, but it has one bigger role. So when we stack 5 embers, here are there, we can detonate them with impact. That's the skill on 1. And we get a burn. So now, why do we want to detonate the embers and get burn? The answer is simple. Because almost all fire skills do more damage when the burn debuff is active. So pretty much you want to have burn debuff up all the time when fighting a monster, or especially when fighting a boss, because that will pretty much double your damage. or should I say not having it will shred your damage in two, because no self-respecting Force Master will be attacking without keeping the burn debuff up all the time. So that's with the basic combo. Now let's see some skills that do a lot of damage, but has longer reuse and some prerequisites to be casted without lowering our DPS during the cast. The first such skill is the Meteor Shower. It is one cast multi-hit skill. That means that you can cast it and you can continue casting color skills while the skill continues to do damage for some additional time when you casted it, like this. Here you can see the damages still coming. Some of them are critical, some of them are not. Another high damage skill is the Inferno. The Inferno does a lot of damage, but it has 2.5 seconds casting time. That's 2.5 seconds that you can cast another skill or move. You can imagine that we can just stop in the middle of a fight and cast Inferno. Not to mention that we'll lose quite a lot of DPS. And in case of 1 versus 1 fight with a boss, the way it is in Mushin Tower, we may get stunned, dazed, knocked down, or even worse, we can get killed. Thankfully, they provided us with a way to cast it instantly, and that's by stacking 5 Emperor. Don't worry, during normal fight you'll have those stacked all the time, pressing 1 for impact, and that allows us to cast Inferno instantly. Of course, we don't wait to cast Inferno, but after casting impact we can make a quick stand switch with right and left click, and then we cast it like this. The power of video editing resets our cooldown. So, pretty much that's all about Meteor Shower and Inferno. Now I'll show you a few more of the important skills, and we will also show you that big numbers for damage when reading the skill doesn't necessarily mean big damage during fight. But first, one of the more important and used skills is the Short Fuse, that is located on Fire C. What Short Fuse does is it gives you burn debuff right away, but also gives you constant chi recovery for some time. It's really good skill for a starter combo, like the one that I use. That is Short Fuse, Meteor, Shower, Impact, Inferno. Of course, I usually cancel it with right and left click, like this. The power of video editing again. So, about those big numbers doesn't mean big damage. I'm talking about the multiple blaze skill that is triggered by using Shadow Grasp on 4 and then pressing 4 again. Now, the numbers on the multiple blaze are big on paper, however, what most people don't realize is that that's the total damage done by the skill during its cast. Like the Meteor Shower, when you're casting multiple blaze, you must remain static for 5 seconds. That means that's 5 seconds that you can't use other skill or move, because it will interrupt the cast. And yes, you can get knocked down, stunned, or dazed either, so yes, it still does a lot of damage, but you do pretty much the same damage using the regular right click, left click combo. Actually, right click, left click 2 combo. There are a few pros, of course, and that's first, it's an area effect or AoE skill, so it's good when you have a group of monsters or mobs. Second, it can be blocked, deflected or resisted because it's not a projectile. By resisted, I'm not talking about special states like frozen by frost sheet, frost armor, or when the target is under some other defending skills like Wing Protection of the Blade Master, Warlock, Bastion, and such skills that give total resist against damage and debuffs. It's not resisted by skills like Divine Veil of the Force Master because it's not a projectile, normal block skills because it's not a projectile, and it's not deflected by Destroyers and Blade Dancer Spin to Win routine again because it's not a projectile. In PvE, it's not blocked by the annoying mobs with shields, and it's not resisted by Sogon's Lament Asura bubble because it's the same as the Force Master's Divine Veil. Not about the one last thing about the skill is that Shadow Grasp that you need to use to trigger it, and multiple blades have separate cooldowns. Shadow Grasp has 30 seconds cooldown and multiple blades has 1 minute cooldown. And you can't cast multiple blades without casting Shadow Grasp first. The last thing I want to explain about skills is that maybe some of you have noticed the skills that appear on F over here. Right here. There are 3 skills that may appear there. They are Dragon Frost, Dragon Blaze, and Dual Dragons. So why they appear and how they are triggered. Dragon Frost appears when we have 3 frost orbs circling around our body. Well, we can't have less anymore anyway. So how they appear? They appear when any of the ice stance skills crits on a target, unless it's a defensive skills. Then most likely it won't hit the target at all. What Dragon Frost does is, here we are, 3 orbs, and we cast it. It stacks 2 chill stacks on the target that makes him run slow and regenerates 5 chi points for you. In similar manner, Dragon Blaze is triggered when you critically hit with any of the fire skills, not defensive skills in fire stance, or when you land a hit with Inferno, no matter if it's critical or not. So what Dragon Blaze does, unlike Dragon Frost, it doesn't recover chi stacks. However, it does inflict 5 Ember stacks on the target. Here we are, which allows us to cast Impact right away after it. That's a nice feature. And it triggers 15 seconds buff. Show the buff. Here it is. That flame damage buff on the caster that gives us 40% additional flame attribute that boosts the flame damage in percent. So here are the stats, and here's the flame damage, and here's the flame damage attribute, and here's the boost. So when we cast Dragon Blaze, here you can see now we do have more flame damage. The last of the 3 skills is Dual Dragons, and you'll never guess how we trigger Dual Dragons. So I'll do that well hidden mystery and tell you that you need to have both Frost and Fire orbs spinning around your body. And here it is, Dual Dragons. What Dual Dragons does is almost a combination of the 2 skills described above. It doesn't stack. It recovers 5 G stacks, it stacks 5 Ember stacks, it does both fire and ice damage according to your attribute. The last few things I should say about those 3 skills is that they all consumes the respective for the element orbs. Well, Dragon Blaze and Dragon Frost, if they critically hit the target, they generate the orbs again right away, but Dual Dragons doesn't. So one last thing about the orbs is that, except for allowing you to cast Dragon Frost, Dragon Blaze and Dual Dragons, they have a row to buff you up when you're receiving damage. The Frost Orbs stack 1 chill stack every time you get hit. When you get hit for the 3rd time, the 2 chill stacks transform into freeze that snares the target. Snare is a state in which the target can move or rotate its camera. It also recovers 3 chill stacks on every hit. The Fire Orb, on the other hand, returns some damage back to the attacker. It's 3% damage. And stacks Ember debuff every time you get hit. So that concludes the orb section. Now, a quick review on the other skills. Fire Tab is Firestorm. Firestorm, it makes an AoE damage, also counters enemy attacks for 0.5 seconds after casting it. So you must time it precisely, it has 18 seconds cooldown. Fire Z is the heat wave that we set to do a knockdown. It is a 2-time cast skill. That means that you cast it once to have it like a bomb under your target, and then you cast it second times to detonate it. It does double knockdown and also has 18 seconds cooldown. Force Blast on 3, it applies a double stun, also applies freeze snare for 5 seconds. The snare effect is quite welcome in dungeons like Naru Foundry's last boss, Acrimor. It also recovers 2 chi, and it's an ice skill, so your stance will be changed to ice stance. Now, the Ice Stab or Frost Armor is a self-defense skill. It's a 10 seconds freeze to save you from damage and heal some HP. Ice Z or Ice Coil, as I said, it does a chill stack, it does a bit damage, it recovers 3 focus, and it has 18 seconds cooldown. It's AoE as well, and it hits, it's not a projectile. Frost Tornado on Ice X, it removes block skills for 6 seconds. It's useful in PvE. You can remove the block on Blade Masters, boss you encounter, and some bosses will try to block you as well. Like the snakes, one of the snakes in Lair, the Frozen Fang. You can break its block with it. The next skill is Divine Veil. It's again on Ice C, as you can see here. It's a projectile resist skill. Every skill that is rated as a projectile will be resisted inside that bubble. The Kung Fu Masters attack, defense, block, damage projectiles as well, so you can heal by hitting them. It also heals you with certain amount of percent of your maximum HP every time you resist damage debuff in the bubble. Quick tip, you may resist for other reasons than the bubble itself, like Frost Sheath or Frost Armor. You can freeze yourself and now you resist any kind of damage or debuff or whatever, and the bubble will heal you in percent from that damage. It's a nice combination to heal in PvP. In PvE, well, not that useful. That's the last skill is the Frost V or Frost Sheath. It's a skill that Force Masters are needed in some dungeons, beside their damage of course. It can save the party members from the damage and or debuffs by freezing them for 5 seconds. How it works, however, when you cast it, you give a 3 seconds buff to everyone in your party. Shows as a snowflake above your head like this. You can see the snowflake. If the person receives damage or debuff while the snowflake is there, he'll get frozen for 5 seconds. Only those that receive damage debuff are frozen. If they resist, block, evade the skill that will hit them, they won't be frozen. So I guess that will conclude part 1. If you think that what you saw was useful, hit the subscribe button below to get notified for part 2 and future videos I'll be releasing. And see you again in part 2.